Scott Ian of Anthrax here on Blunt. It is Ned. Scott, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, really good, thank you, man. And I have to ask, do you remember that time you partied with Beavis and Butthead?
I remember the time I was in a recording studio with Mike Judge.
That's what I want to talk about, man. Like the first thing I think of when I think of Anthrax is Beavis and Butthead and how I first got introduced to you guys back in the early 90s and on that recording session. How much fun was that?
It was amazing. I mean, we were obviously big fans, and when we got asked to be a part of that, and then we just thought they were just going to use a song or something, and then they said they wanted to have us in the studio and with Mike and get to be in the room with him and do these bits together. He came up with these ideas and to stand in the room and watch him do the voices, and his face would take on the characteristics of like Beavis and Butthead when he'd be doing each guy's voice. Like you'd be looking at him going, God, he looks like Butthead right now when he's doing Butthead's voice. It was such a trip, and we were dying. It was hard to get through the takes because it wasn't really a script. He just had an idea like Beavis and Butthead or show up and they're gonna knock on the door of your bus. Okay, let's go. And then we would just improvise, and he would always be saying different lines as the characters, and we would just be pissing our pants laughing the whole time. And so we'd have to stop and do it again because we just kept laughing.
Oh man, well it's such a highlight, and I think that really stole the Beavis and Butthead experience, and it's been game on since then. But you guys have done so many great things like that. I didn't realize, and it went over the top of my head. Were you on Married with Children as well?
Yes, yeah.
Can you tell me about that with Ed O'Neill? Like I did not know that.
We the, the really long story. I'll try to make it as short as I can. So we were really big Simpsons fans. Obviously, still are. And this is going back to like '89 or when it was on the Tracy Ullman show. We loved the Simpsons, and then the Simpsons had their own show. And here in America, it's on a network called Fox,
Yeah.
and we had someone at our label, Missy, who owns the label now. She We would ask her to call the Simpsons all the time to try and get us on the Simpsons because at some point they started you'd see bands on the Simpsons, and we were dying to get on the Simpsons, and she would call over to Fox like once a week and try and get Anthrax on the Simpsons, to no avail. It just wasn't happening. And there was another show on Fox called Married with Children, and one day Missy gets a call from a producer at Fox, and he says, "Hey, so we hear Anthrax is interested in being on The Simpsons." She's like, "Oh yeah, oh my God, yes." And he goes, "Well, this isn't for The Simpsons. It's for another show called Married with Children." And we have a script for an episode where the Bud and Kelly, the two kids on the show, win a radio contest and for a heavy metal band to come play in their house. And we thought Anthrax would be the perfect band to do that. And do you think the guys would be into it? So Missy said, "Let me check." And she called us, and we were also huge fans of Married with Children, never
Yeah.
thinking that Married with Children was going to have a metal band on. So yeah, we couldn't believe it, and of course said yes. And months later, found ourselves out at the studios where they shot out here. This was in early '92, and yeah, we spent the whole week. From Monday to Friday, you do your initial read till on Friday when you actually tape the show in front of a live audience, and just one of the greatest weeks of my life. So unbelievable, so much fun. Ed O'Neill was the coolest. They were all super cool, but Ed was the coolest, super helpful. You'd think it would be easy to play yourself, but it's very awkward when you're having to say lines that somebody else wrote. I'm not an actor, you know. So it would sound it just in the first few read throughs of the script, they would tell you just relax, just be yourself. And I'm like, well, I am. I'm sitting here reading this, and like, yeah, but it's stiff. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't say this. Like that's and then
Because
Ed would pull you aside and say, try it like this. And he would do a line read for you and be like, oh, okay. And he goes, just copy that. And now you see what I mean? Like it's you, but it's like an amplified version of you. He goes, remember, even though you're playing yourself, you're a character on this TV show. This isn't reality. And that helped a lot. It was a really good note.
Oh, man. Well, it's just one of many, many things, I guess, because you guys have had such an established career, like Beavis and Butt. I still think that's amazing, right there, that you got to do that and you stole the show on that. Yeah, Married with Children. I've got to check out The Walking Dead as well, though. And we're not even really talking about your music, although it's crossing over. Do you have like a favorite there, man?
What about it?
Do you have a favorite thing that you popped up on, Scott? Like a
Oh. I mean, I think doing Married with Children was the best because, we got to spend a whole week and we were a part of it. We were a part of that episode, really a part of it, like main characters in the episode, and we got to be involved in the making of at the time a huge TV show here in the United States. I know worldwide too, but I mean it was massive here, and you can't tell you how many people got to see that. Instantly after that aired. I mean, people everywhere you go. I saw you on Married with Children. I saw you. I mean, I'm sure it opened the door for us to sell a lot of records because people had never heard of Anthrax before, and then they saw us on a TV show, and then maybe they went and checked us out. And I mean, doing Walking Dead was great because I'm a big horror fan, obviously, and getting to get made up as a walker and get to get a pole stuck through my head by Carl was a lot of fun. I never wanted to take the makeup off. I love getting to do anything like that, and the fact that I've been playing guitar in a heavy metal band for all these decades, and that's opened the doors for me and the band to do these other really cool things because we just play the music we love. It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, super cool right there. And I think just looking into you more, like you're a little bit like you're a bit of a you're saying you're into horror movies as well. Yeah, are you into collecting or anything like that too?
Uh, I used to be. As a kid, I was a big comic collector.
Yeah.
Um, I still have a lot of comics, but I stopped collecting a long time ago. The only thing I collect, I've got every Stephen King. I'm a big Stephen King collector, first editions and limited editions. I've got a pretty cool collection of that stuff. But obviously, I have a lot of guitars, but I'm not a guitar collector. I don't go out looking for specific vintages or this or that. So no, I can't really call myself a big collector. Little things here and there, like if I see like a cool figure that maybe a company puts out of some horror icon that I really like, I'll get that or something, and I put it in my closet where I can see it and shit like that. But no, I don't really full on collect anything anymore.
The reason I bring it up is because the Scott Ian Anthrax NECA figure is like one of the coolest ones I've seen, man. That must mean a
It
lot to
sure
you,
is.
one of those.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love having that. I've had a couple of iterations of different action figures over the years. Started out, the first one I ever had was like a bobblehead a long time ago,
Yeah.
and yeah, the fact that the wonderful people at NECA, you know, think it's cool enough for me to have multiple different NECA action figures. My latest one is the 1987 one where I looks like me from '87 with my long hair and all that, and I think they did a great job on it, and people get a kick out of it. I think we don't obviously I don't think I'm selling as many as like Freddie or Jason or Michael or people like that. But still, they do these limited runs, and it's really cool, and I get excited about having one. So I guess that's all that really matters.
Yeah, well, yeah, it does. Are you going to bring any of those for your tour down here, Scott?
No, I won't have him with me. No, I have no way to get him down there.
Yeah.
I'm not bringing. I don't check a bag when I fly.
But it'd be very hard to pack too, just thinking about it. ScottIanStore.com though, if people want to pick it up, because they are very, very cool.
Yeah, yeah. Go to my store. There's still some left, and once they're done, that's it. I don't do second runs, second editions. They're super limited, uh, and there's three versions of this one. One comes with the white guitar, one comes with the black guitar. There's like 250 of each of those, and then there was like 15 that come with the Among the Living guitar. So if you randomly get one of those, you're stoked.
Oh man, yeah, that is super cool right there. Be sure to get out. I'm very aware of time, super limited on time right here. So I guess the last thing I'm gonna ask you, man, is you hosted the rock show. Who would you say was your most memorable guest throughout that time in 2001 back in the day?
Wow. Who was
I
my
remember big time guests.
Yeah. Oh, Ozzy, of course. The easy.
I thought you were gonna say that, man, the legend himself.
Yeah, of course. I almost like I'm sitting here thinking that duh. Yeah, we had Ozzy. Ozzy was in New York. We were shooting our Halloween episode for 2001, and Ozzy was in New York doing press for his album that had just was coming out, and he had been doing press all day, like starting from the Howard Stern radio show early in the morning, and we weren't shooting till about 5 or 6 o'clock at night. So he's been going like 10, 11 hours all over Manhattan, running around doing interviews. And he shows up at Rock Show at the VH1 studio, and it's the Halloween episode. So I'm dressed as Gene Simmons. Ozzy had been told in advance that I was going to be dressed in the Gene Simmons costume. But, like I said, he'd been out all day doing press, and I think he was very tired, and he just didn't want to be doing anything. And he's just standing there staring at me from like across the room, like looking at me sitting on the set, like, who is this jackass dressed like, who's this asshole dressed like Gene Simmons? Like, what am I doing here? Like, I could see he was not happy. And I knew Ozzy, we were friends. And he'd been told that it's Scott from Anthrax. And he comes over, and it's time to start shooting the interview, and he comes over and he sits down on the case next to me, and I start the interview with him, and every question I ask him, I'm getting like no response. Like, how's the response been to the new record? All right. Like, not he's not giving me anything. And I'm getting like super nervous. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I don't understand. Why is he? This is terrible. And I'm like sweating under the makeup, and then after like 5 minutes of this, the director calls cut, and he goes, "Let's take a break for a second." And Ozzy gets up and goes and hangs out with Sharon, and the director's talking to me, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, this is really weird. Like, and then I hear Sharon, she's talking to Ozzy, and then we start again, and it's kind of the same thing. I start asking the same questions. Well, let's do those again. I start asking the questions, and he's just barely answering me. And then he leans in, and he leans right up close in my face, and I'm wondering. He leans in, and he's like staring in my face, and he goes, "Scott, it's you under there." And I said, "Yeah." And I hear Sharon go, "I fucking told you it was Scott Ian," and he's like, "Oh, mate," and he hugs me, and then everything was great after that. Everything went fine. He just afterwards he told me, I was like, "Who the fuck is this asshole looking like a bald Gene Simmons?" Then then he realized it was me. I'm like, I'm the asshole who looks like a bald Gene Simmons.
Oh man, it's such a great story. So glad I asked. Well, Scott, thank you so much for taking time out. I really appreciate it. You guys almost here. Playing in Brisbane, March 23, Adelaide the 25th, the 26th in Melbourne, and wrapping things up in the 28th. Saturday, March 28th. Very much appreciate you taking time out, man, and looking forward to seeing Anthrax Down Under once again.
Right on. Thank you so much.